You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. My name is Banda Tandiwe. Let's take a look at the headlines. Violence lands two MANDEVU PF officials in court. Given LUBINDA ponders on introducing the political parties bill to parliament as he pushes constitution amendments to 2021. Zambian IG warns opposition against inciting people to rise against the PF government. In our international news, Tanzania opposition leader FREEMAN MBOWE arrested in post-election violence. And in our sports news, Zambia under 17 and 20 both drawn in Group B of their respective COSAFA tournaments. Do join me with the details after this break.
Camnet TV invites all registered castor seed farmers for a 3-day training session. On Monday, 2nd November from 0830 hours, training for trainers cost 1,020 kwacha per participant. On Tuesday, 3rd November and Wednesday, 4th November, training for all castor growers, 620 kwacha per participant, lunch inclusive. Choose one day only.
Speakers will be Pastor Moses Chiluba, Israel Kembo from Zimbabwe, Professor Rida from Egypt.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. For more information, registration and payments, use the following numbers: 0979 753010, 0962 382535, 0962 965883. Cost for castor seed and fertilizer is $805 or kwacha equivalent. Deposit in Zanaco account number 5764283500-191 Lower Nikamo branch. Let's make Zambia an economical powerhouse for Africa.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. In our first news item for today, Zambian well-wishers have continued to render help to a 75-year-old woman of Hawato village in Mazabuka district of Southern Province. The elderly woman, who is disabled and only crows, recently appealed for help after her relatives abandoned her. More in this report.
She has been crawling for the past 2 years and complains of pain on her legs that have lasted for almost 10 years. She cannot walk. Esther Msole, a 75-year-old woman of Abweto village in Mazabuka, Mwanachingwela chiefdom, lives with her old-aged husband, Gil Brown Slunda, who helps out with all home chores, among them washing, cooking, and even bathing his lovely wife. The couple neither have children nor relatives to render financial assistance. They only depend on well-wishers for their daily survival. Despite this, surviving is hard as their husband does nothing at all due to his old age. Working is impossible. This sad story has left a number of well-wishers to come on board and assist the old-aged couple. Care for Nature Zambia is among some organizations that have come on board to assist the couple.
And although we send forward a small contribution, we are aware that our needs are beyond treatment, as the small hut in which she lives with her husband is in a deplorable state and may not withstand the rain season. Given that aging people are most vulnerable to COVID-19 and other diseases, Esther Msole, like many aging people, requires safe homes that have access to clean water and sanitation facilities, including a good diet.
The Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit provided a wheelchair to her with mobility beside other foodstuff, donated and building materials. And former Movement for Multi-Party Democracy Presidential Affairs has also donated a blanket worth 450 kwacha.
It could be a little gift, but I think it may go a long way to help you. Please always look up to God, because the birds of the bush do not have fields, but yet they eat every day. You have people around you, and you must not be left to starve or live in great poverty.
Food and the treatment continue to be daily struggle. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Mazabuka.
The Consumer Unity Trust Society, CUT, has urged power utility firm ZESCO to ensure that intended vulnerable households benefit from the COVID-19 relief package. ZESCO Limited has initiated a threefold relief package in which it has cancelled all accumulated fixed tariff charges for over 71,000 customers worth 46.3 million kwacha and temporarily suspended recovery of accumulated outstanding debt for the prepaid customers. Ishmael Zulu, the CUT program's coordinator, notes that in most instances, such initiatives have disadvantaged the targeted beneficiaries. Speaking to Camnet TV News, Mr. Zulu has hailed the move by ZESCO as it comes at a time when citizens have been burdened by the COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with a slow economic growth which has seen a rise in the cost of living.
Institution, one thing that we have been advocating for is for the government to find ways of softening the blow, the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the poor and the vulnerable in society, vulnerable groups such as women, the youth, the disabled in society. This is because they've got very little capital resources to allow them to adequately respond to the negative impacts of the virus. So we commend ZESCO for putting in place this measure, and in their implementation, I think it's important to ensure that they're targeting the vulnerable groups. I think past precedence has shown that certain programs that have been put in place, I think, to cushion the vulnerable have been poorly targeted, and hence the wrong people benefiting. So I think it's important to ensure that the intended beneficiaries, which is the poor and the vulnerable, are the ones that are benefiting.
In other news stories, Justice Minister Given LUBINDA says not all is lost on Bill 10 as he proposes to reintroduce the bill to Parliament just after the 2021 general elections. Addressing the media on Monday, Mr. LUBINDA charged that the fall of Bill 10 has worked to government's advantage as it will now tell the Zambian people while certain things are not right which needed amendments. The minister has continued to lament the failure of the opposition's resistance to support the bill which he claims was very progressive. Mr. LUBINDA has further informed the nation that he intends to seek authority from President Edgar Lungu on the possibilities of introducing the political parties bill to Parliament. He says all those political parties that thought they have won, who are won in for it with the political parties bill, the Minister of Justice is hopeful that the political parties bill will be tabled before Parliament once a go-ahead is given by the head of state.
For the country, it is sad. However, it is a temporary setback. Temporary setback. 1 year from now, President Edgar Lungu and his government will start again. So for 1 year, the Zambians will have to live with the difficult circumstances. As a political party, and the political player, and the political strategist, I can say to you that this is a godsend. It's a good failure. A good failure because now I have something to go and tell the people. Now I'll go to the people and say, please look in their eyes. Why did they stop this? Let them explain. So as a politician, I'm very happy it happened. Because it's not us now on the defense. It's not us, it's them. It's them now who have to go and explain to the chiefs. When we hear of any chiefs Rambo in Zambia, we shall say, those who stayed away, those who are drinking wine, go and ask them. When youths come, we shall tell them, go to them. So for politics, it works out to our advantage. I saw a posting which was very interesting. Somebody sent it to me. It was purported to have been written by somebody who later on came back and said, no, I'm not the one who wrote it. But the piece is a masterpiece, it's true. It's correct. It's correct. We want them now to start defending themselves. Asking me, what about the Public Order Act? My answer is, please go and read Hansard. When Minister Kampiongo presented the bill, the amendment bill to the Public Order Act, what happened in Parliament? Leader of the opposition, leader in UPND stood up and said, Mr. Speaker, we don't want to present that bill until after we're finished with Bill 10. Let us do the constitutional amendments first. That's when we'll bring the Public Order Act. You can't have the cake and eat it at the same time. So we shall wait for the amendment of the Constitution before we amend the Public Order Act. It follows. But the one thing I can assure you is that I am going to request His Excellency the President to allow me to proceed with the political parties bill, because it's provided for at Article 60 of the Constitution, Amendment number 2 of 2016.
And Bill 10 supporter Andrew Ntewewe, who is Young African Leaders Initiative's YALI president, has proposed to the executive to only reintroduce constitutional amendments after 30 years. Mr. Ntewewe's comments comes in the wake of that Bill 10's failure to go beyond second reading. Mr. Ntewewe says the only remaining option is to clean the constitution, is to allow the Constitutional Court to continue pronouncing itself on provisions of the Constitution. And Mr. Ntewewe says the failure to pass Bill 10 has put the delimitation process in jeopardy, as no delimitation of constituencies can happen without amending the numerical numbers entrenched in the Constitution. He also laments that the failure of Bill 10 means government will not proceed with consideration of repealing the 1955 Colonial Public Order Act, which many political players have complained about.
The failure of Bill number 10 has put the delimitation process in jeopardy, as no delimitation of constituencies can happen without amending the numerical numbers entrenched in the Constitution. As you may be aware, our people around the country were looking forward to their constituencies being delimited. The people of Matero, the people of Munali, the people of MANDEVU wanted their constituencies delimited. But because of the failure of Bill number 10, thanks to UPND members of Parliament and its leader, these constituencies will not be delimited. The people of Chilubi, Mwinilunga, Kasempa, Mfumbwe were wishing that their constituencies be delimited. Thanks to UPND and its egoistic interests and its egoistic leader, these constituencies will not be delimited. The failure of Bill number 10 means that chiefs who have been looking forward to state protection and recognition have lost out. This means that government continues to have nothing to do with recognition of new chiefs or succession wrangles in chiefdoms. So the wrangles and succession disputes that we have experienced across the country in various chiefdoms are going to continue. All that is thanks to UPND.
Meanwhile, the Southern Africa Center for the Constructive Resolution of Disputes, CORD, has praised the maturity exhibited by various stakeholders and the people of Zambia with regards to the outcome of the Constitution Amendment Bill number 10. In a statement availed to the media, Organization Executive Director Boniface Chembe explains that since Bill 10 came into being, the people of Zambia have been engaged into very aggressive but peaceful debate on the process that gave rise to Bill 10 and its content. Mr. Chembe notes that although those in support of Bill 10 put up a spirited fight, falling short of 6 votes to pass the bill, those against Bill 10 put up a stronger coalition, and as per the dictates of democracy, they won. Mr. Chembe has since encouraged the Zambian people to exhibit peaceful behaviors as the country transitions into an electional year where many violent acts are witnessed, adding that people should learn to accept the outcome of such events, either for and against outcomes. Details in this report.
we want to praise the maturity in which stakeholders and the Zambian citizens were able to engage themselves around matters pertaining to Constitutional Amendment Bill number 10. The ultimate decision on whether Bill 10 would remain a reality or would collapse was dependent on which stakeholder was strong enough to form a formidable coalition consisting of either ruling, opposition or independent members of parliament to either support or reject Bill 10. Those in support of Bill 10 were able to put up a spirited fight, falling short by 6 votes. And those against Bill 10 were able to put up a stronger enough coalition to ensure that Bill 10 collapsed. And as per the dictates of democracy, they were able to win. We now have to respect the decision that our democracy has brought about on the matter of Bill 10, but also live with the reality of the fact that the environment that is constitutional, legal as well as electoral that characterized the 2016 general election is the same environment that we shall have as a country going into the 2021 general elections. What the debate around Bill 10 has done is to showcase the people of Zambia that we can disagree and hold divergent views on various important national matters. But at the end of it all, it is important that we are able to uphold peace in so doing and ultimately ensure that any other national matter that comes to the fore and that may require a vote should be able to be characterized with the kind of peace that a Bill 10 debate and its ultimate determination were able to be characterized with. So as SACOD, we want to praise the maturity.
Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja has cautioned some politicians to desist from inciting citizens to rise against the government. Mr. Kanganja is dismayed with a video circulating on various social media platforms, alleging and claiming that there is a scheme by the Patriotic Front government to plunge the country into chaos. The video circulating online is marred with images of dead bodies all over in the streets and people hugging each other. But the police chief notes that the video is meant on inciting violence amongst the general citizenry and also incites people to rise against the PF government. Mr. Kanganja says this type of propaganda is very dangerous for the nation and must not be entertained. He has since ordered police officers to immediately get down to the bottom of the same documentary and bring the perpetrators to face the wrath of the law.
I've noted with dismay the video circulating on various social media platforms alleging and purporting that there is a scheme by the Patriotic Front government to plunge the country into chaos. The video is marred with images of dead bodies all over in the streets and people hugging each other. The video is bent on inciting violence among the general citizenry and also incite people to raise against the government. Therefore, members of the public are being called upon not to panic, but treat the same video with utmost contempt it deserves. This type of propaganda is very dangerous for our peaceful country and must not be entertained. These are indicators of genocide. I have since ordered my officers to immediately get down to the bottom of the same documentary and bring the perpetrators to face the wrath of the law. We shall not sit and watch people foment violence while hiding under the veil of politics.
Lands and Natural Resources Minister Jean Kapata says the draft land policy has been concluded and awaits to be tabled before Cabinet for approval and subsequent presentation to Parliament. Ms. Kapata says the draft has been validated and all the concerned stakeholders raised were taken into consideration, among them a submission for traditional leaders to be issuing land titles. Meanwhile, the minister has clarified that the ongoing national land tilting will require landowners to make a payment ranging from a minimum of 3,000 kwacha to 5,000 kwacha, whilst in some cases, where it's prime land, the fee would go up to 15,000 kwacha. Ms. Kapata says landowners can pay for the land title in installments and the title will be issued upon making the final payment.
A few comments came with them, and we have since attended to those concerns which the stakeholders had. So as far as I'm concerned, the draft land policy is done. It's it's just awaiting approval from Cabinet. Well, there were quite a number of them. And one of them was the traditional leaders wanted also to be given title. So that was one of the issues that they brought on board. And we have advised that they continue to give what they've been giving in the past. Different. So it ranges from minimum 3,000 to 5,000. In some cases where it's prime land, it goes up to 15,000. And we are not asking people to pay cash immediately. We are asking them to spread, and we'll hold on to their title. When they have finished paying, then the title can be given. We understand that these are difficult times and people are going through difficult times.
Still to come in the news, 3 ruling Patriotic Front PF MANDEVU constituency officials have been dragged to court over violence allegations. Do join us with these details after this break.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Well, Amwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me.
Yes!
I already know the secrets.
Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin. Camnet TV invites all registered castor seed farmers for a 3-day training session. On Monday, 2nd November from 08:30 hours, training for trainers cost 1,020 kwacha per participant. On Tuesday, 3rd November and Wednesday, 4th November, training for all castor growers, 620 kwacha per participant, lunch inclusive. Choose one day only.
Speakers will be Pastor Moses Chiluba, Israel Campbell from Zimbabwe, Professor Rida from Egypt.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. For more information, registration and payments, use the following numbers: 0979 753010, 0962 382535, 0962 965883. Cost for castor seed and fertilizer is $805 or kwacha equivalent. Deposit in Zanaco account number 5764283500-191 Lewanika Mill branch. Let's make Zambia an economical powerhouse for Africa.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with our news stories. 3 ruling Patriotic Front PF MANDEVU constituency officials have been dragged to court over violence allegations. The 3 are constituency youth chairman Cliff Walia of Chaisa, Martin Katzo and John Kamweo, all from MANDEVU. The trio is accused of assaulting 3 of their fellow PF party members following a leadership dispute. It is alleged that on the 15th of March 2020, jointly and whilst acting together, the 3 assaulted Lemmy Walia, Thomas Perry and Gladys Mwili, thereby occasioning them actual bodily harm. And testifying before Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Lamek Mwale, Lemi Walia, a politician and a victim of the assault, did tell the court that on his way to stand for a position of treasurer at the intra-party election held on the 15th of March 2020 in MANDEVU constituency, he was brutally dragged and grabbed by his neck before the three assaulted him. Meanwhile, PF MANDEVU Constituency Information and Publicity Secretary for Women, Gladys Mwila, also confirmed with the court that she was assaulted by the trio after she tried to question why they were assaulting Walia. And in other news stories, Health Minister Chitalu Chilufya has projected a sharp rise in COVID-19 cases in the month of December should Zambians continue ignoring the health guidelines. Dr. Chilufya explains that December, being a festive season, sees a lot of gatherings. Hence, if guidelines are not being followed, the nation risks recording high cases of the pandemic. Meanwhile, Dr. Chilufya has disclosed that in the last 24 hours, the country has recorded 63 new cases of COVID-19 amongst 5,771 tests conducted with no death. He has also disclosed that as at 2nd November 2020, the COVID-19 global pandemic has close to 1.2 million deaths world over.
The COVID-19 global pandemic had caused 1.2 million deaths globally. Zambia has contributed 349 deaths to that number. As we commemorate All Souls Day, let us remember all the departed due to COVID-19 and may their souls rest in peace. This 1.2 million deaths is coming out of a total of 46,823,570 cases of COVID-19 that have been recorded. It is consoling to note that 33 million recoveries have been recorded in the same period. In the last 24 hours, Zambia conducted 5,721 tests, out of which 63 were positive. We did not record any deaths, therefore our deaths still remain at 349. The 63 new cases are coming from the Copper Belt, Northwestern and Lusaka. And so these have been recorded in Chingola, Kitwe, Solwezi, Ndola, Kabompo and Solwezi. So the three provinces of Copper Belt, Lusaka and Northwestern continue to be the epicenters for COVID-19. Currently, we only have one patient admitted to the Levi Manawasa Medical.
The Prisoner Reintegration and Empowerment Organization is disappointed with the fact that despite President Edgar Lungu pardoning 966 prisoners, government has failed to safeguard the plight of ex-convicts. Organization Executive Director Derek Malumo urges government to find means and ways to reintegrate the ex-prisoners in society as a means to deter them from engaging themselves in bad vices. Mr. Malumo has also asked President Edgar Lungu to consider pardoning more prisoners in the view of the COVID-19 pandemic. He says this will help to decongest the already overcrowded prison facilities.
The Home Affairs is always aware to say this is the number that we have recommended. So now, what we would like is the empowerment part. Can these people who have been released be helped to start a new life in society? Because apart from those who are pardoned, there are people who are coming out every day upon completion of their sentences. What's happening to them? So as an organization, we are really worried that we don't have government position when it comes to reintegration of ex-inmates to society. We can ask ex-inmates to have good behavior as they have come out. Can you show good behavior? Can you show that you are grateful? We can ask families to accept their own relatives who have come out. That one we are already doing. We are also asking the church, can you come on board? But then we want government to come on board. Government has not come on board on a serious note, apart from notice and promises, where maybe the Minister of Home Affairs will assure you to say, okay, government, this is what they are going to do. But now, we are going to the end of term. You know, when we talk about, we are talking about elections next year. We don't know what happens. We are not going to comment on that. But what we are worried about is, year in and year out, prisoners are released, inmates are pardoned. There are others come out in different ways. But then the issue is, what is their package as they come out? What's the reintegration? Because otherwise, we are not breaking the circle of crime. The circle of crime is where they are released, they come into the community, they rejoin society, they go back into the same facilities only to pass through the same skills, rejoin the community. So the circle of crime is not broken. So this is what we want to break as an organization.
As the country joins the rest of the world in commemorating the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists, which falls on the 2nd of November 2020 under the auspices of the United Nations, the Media Liaison Committee has called for an end to harassment of journalists in the country. As the media mother body, the Media Liaison Committee is calling on political players, the police and the general citizens to desist from harassing journalists during the course of their duty. Media Liaison Committee Chairperson Enoch Ngoma states that journalists in Zambia have become an endangered species as harassment comes from all angles. In the past 14 years, close to 1,200 journalists worldwide have been killed for reporting news and bringing information to the public.
The Media Liaison Committee would like to join the rest of the world in commemorating the International Day to end impunity for crimes against journalists, which falls on November 2 under the auspices of the United Nations. As the media mother body, the Media Liaison Committee is calling on all political players, the police and the general citizens to desist from harassing journalists during the course of their duty. Journalists in Zambia have become endangered species as harassment comes from all angles. We urge media houses and individual journalists to stop the tendency of withdrawing assault or harassment cases that have been reported to the police or cases that are already before the courts of law, as this will encourage would-be offenders to perpetrate the crimes against the journalists. The Media Liaison Committee calls on the media to always remain professional and ethical so that the public can always have trust in the news coming from the journalist. It is unfortunate to learn that in the past 14 years, since 2014,
we take our last set of commercials and return with our international and sports news. Do stay with us.
We all miss the days we would play outside, go to school, and visit fun places. But now, we all have to take care to prevent the coronavirus. Viruses are really tiny particles that we can't see with just our eyes, so we need to keep ourselves safe by practicing good hygiene, such as washing our hands with soap and clean water regularly. We can also use hand sanitizer to keep our hands clean. It's also important for us to keep our bodies and surroundings clean. We must also avoid handshakes, hugs, and standing close to other people in public places. This is called social distancing. The coronavirus has affected millions of people around the world, so we need to stay safe. In the meantime, we can keep ourselves busy by reading a book, watching TV, and doing some schoolwork. There's so much we can do indoors. Stay safe, stay home, and prevent COVID-19. We're all in this together.
This advert is sponsored by the Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA. My tax, your tax, our destiny. Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customer service@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Camnet TV invites all registered castor seed farmers for a 3-day training session. On Monday, 2nd November from 08:30 hours, training for trainers cost 1,020 kwacha per participant. On Tuesday, 3rd November and Wednesday, 4th November, training for all castor growers, 620 kwacha per participant, lunch inclusive. Choose one day only.
Speakers will be Pastor Moses Chiluba, Israel Campbell from Zimbabwe, Professor Rida from Egypt.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. For more information, registration and payments, use the following numbers: 0979 75 3010, 0962 38 2535, 0962 96 5883. Cost for castor seed and fertilizer is $805 or kwacha equivalent. Deposit in Zanaco account number 57642835000191 Lewanika Mill branch. Let's make Zambia an economical powerhouse for Africa.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. In our international news, police in Tanzania have arrested the chairman of the main opposition party in the wake of a disputed election. Freeman MBOWE was detained along the 2 other Chadema leaders for planning violent protests against the police. According to the police, President John Magufuli was re-elected with 84% of the vote, Friday's official results have shown. But the opposition said Wednesday's poll was fraudulent and called for peaceful demonstrations. Chadema's presidential candidate Tundu Lissu told the BBC Newsday program that he had also heard of the arrest of the party leaders in other parts of the country. Mr. Lissu received 13% of the vote, the National Electoral Commission NEC said. He alleged last week that his party agent had been prevented from entering some polling stations where ballot boxes were tampered with. Over the weekend, the leaders of Chadema, including Mr. MBOWE and other opposition party, ACT Wazalendo, urged their supporters to come out in large numbers to peacefully protest and demand fresh elections. Here's Al Jazeera for more details.
This was the scene moments before the main opposition presidential candidate in Zanzibar was arrested. Maalim Seif Sharif Hamad had just called for mass protests in Tanzania's semi-autonomous island region, citing widespread irregularities in Wednesday's poll. He was heading to the town square when police intercepted him and other party leaders. Protesters who had started gathering were also dispersed. Others were beaten up, as phone video shows. For the most part, streets remained empty and many shops closed. People are afraid of a violent confrontation with security forces following claims that police shot and killed several protesters in another island. Ruling CCM party presidential candidate Dr. Hussein Mwinyi was later declared winner with 76% of the vote by the Zanzibar Electoral Commission. On the mainland, where President John Magufuli is up against opposition candidate Tundu Lissu, more problems. Lissu says his election agents were denied access to thousands of polling stations. Police forcibly removed others. The opposition has made widespread allegations that some ballot papers were pre-marked, ballot boxes stuffed, and that police intimidated those who dared question inconsistencies in the process.
What happened yesterday is not an election. It is a fraud. It is an electoral fraud of a magnitude that is unprecedented in our entire history. The polling in many parts of the country yesterday took place under conditions which cannot be described as conditions for free, fair, and credible elections.
Lissu's calling for mass action and has urged international bodies such as the African Union, the European Union, and the UN not to recognize the poll. The Electoral Commission denies the rigging allegations, saying the opposition just wants to start trouble. In Dar es Salaam, where the presidential results will be announced, residents have mixed reaction about the election and calls for demonstrations.
This election is not credible. Many things were not done correctly during the vote. There is no democracy.
I'm happy. The results should be respected. Let our president finish the good projects he started 5 years ago.
Opposition leaders say the only option for Tanzanians to have their voices heard is to join mass protest rallies. Once the results are announced by the Electoral Commission, they cannot be challenged in court.
We take a look at what we have in our sports news. In our sports news, Zambia under-17 and under-20 men's national team have both been drawn in Group B of their respective COSAFA Championship tournament. The under-20 has been drawn alongside Young Flames of Malawi, Namibia and Comoros Islands in their route to defend their title. The draws for the 2020 COSAFA men's under-20 and under-17 championships were made in Nelson Mandela Bay this morning. Zambia under-20 head coach Oswald Mutape has since summoned a 51-man provisional squad for the preparations for the tournament led by Italian-based midfielder Abel Kanyumuna. Hosts South Africa and Zimbabwe are drawn in Group A alongside Mozambique and Lesotho. In the under-17 category, Zambia, who is defending champions, has been drawn alongside Botswana, Malawi and Comoros Islands. Hosts South Africa, Angola, Zimbabwe and Eswatini have been drawn in a group of death. The men's COSAFA under-17 and under-20 will serve as continental qualifiers. The under-17 tournament will be held from November 16 to 29, 2020, while the under-20 tournament will be held from December 3rd to 13th, 2020. The story is courtesy of Zamfoot Sports. That sports news item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. Violence lands 2 MANDEVU PF officials in court. Given LUBINDA ponders on introducing the political parties bill to parliament as he pushes constitutional amendments to 2021. Zambian IG warns opposition against inciting people to rise against the PF government. In international news, Tanzania opposition leader FREEMAN MBOWE arrested in post-election violence. And in sports, Zambia under-17 and 20 both drawn in Group B of their respective COSAFA tournaments. On that note, we look at our Camnet word verse of the day, which is coming from the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 2, and it reads, "And be not conformed to this world, but ye be transformed by renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." Thank you so much for joining me on Camnet TV. My name is Banda Tandiwe. Pleasant viewing.